Hello and welcome to the program. I'm your host, Neil Howard, here on Health Professional Radio. Glad that you could join us once again. Our guest is Mr. Matt Blosl. He's Chief Revenue Officer at DocuTAP, and I'll let him explain a little bit about who he is, what he does there at DocuTAP, and what type of firm DocuTAP is. Welcome to the program, Matt. Thanks for taking the time this morning.
Absolutely, and thank you for having me. Yes, at DocuTAP, we play in the on-demand healthcare space. We have a whole suite of services that are designed to offer certainly urgent care providers and really anyone looking to do more on-demand type of healthcare. Everything from patient engagement products and services to clinical EMR, and then practice management, billing, things like that. So really a full suite of solutions designed, really to power the on-demand healthcare space. And at DocuTAP, I oversee a lot of our customer-facing functions, so sales, marketing, operations, which includes our implementation team that gets clients up and running, our account management team that helps work with our clients to make them as successful as possible, and then our support team, which deals with kind of a lot of the day-to-day things that can come up in practices as it relates to our products and services.
Would you say that you're more focused on one type of care as opposed to another, say ER care, primary care, urgent care? What would you say you're most focused on? Or is it, as you say, across the board, all spectrums of the care industry, of the healthcare industry?
It's a great question. I mean, we were built from the ground up, focused on urgent care. That's where we got our start, and it's actually has been our strategic advantage all along, is that rather than going multi-specialty and taking a broad view at healthcare, we've on urgent care early on. Now, I will say that's why I start to use the term on demand, because I think we have started to increase our view a little bit more. And there are things that what we always like to say, there are elements outside of urgent care that are becoming more urgent care-like, right? And to us, that's on demand. That's consumer behavior driven. And so you look at like our patient engagement solution, Clockwise, we certainly focus on urgent care there, but it's also something that we partner with EDs, radiology, other areas. But, our focus has always been and always will be urgent care. I would just say that it starts to bleed a little bit, just as we see primary care starting to bleed into urgent care. But we'll always stay true to kind of our urgent care focus.
When it comes to setting your clients up, are you normally integrating into their existing systems, or are you totally overhauling systems? Is that what your focus is on, is overhauling and having them absolutely DocuTAP and nothing else, or do you seamlessly kind of coexist with what they've already got and maybe make it more efficient using your techniques and technology?
It's really both. I mean, I would say, primarily we find clients that are looking to overhaul or replace an existing system, whether that be an actual technology solution or sometimes paper, where we come in and certainly for our EMR, they implement the DocuTAP solution. Sometimes that includes upfront patient engagement solutions and then more back-end billing. It just depends. But then there's a lot of client situations where I don't want to say it's a la carte, but they may have an existing, billing platform that they use or outside biller where we'll help integrate into that. You get into some clients that have partnerships or joint ventures with health systems where we may need to integrate back into Epic or Cerner. We can do that as well. So we have full interoperability capabilities, and it really just depends on the client's needs. We try to be as nimble as possible and offer them, whatever the right, part of the DocuTAP solution set makes sense for their business.
How much of that solution set involves actually storing a facility or practice's information on one of your sites as opposed to their site? Maybe sometimes is that a solution, or is that something that you kind of stay hands off of and let everyone kind of control that on their own?
No, it's part of our solution. I mean, listen, the data is obviously a key component of that, and we, if they're in using our EMR platform. Obviously, the patient data is key to that, and so we help them. And we have different models. We have certain clients that have certain priorities as it relates to where their information or databases live, and we can for the most part accommodate a lot of different circumstances. But the way that we like to think about it is we have a best practice approach on how to best utilize and set up and implement DocuTAP, and that's usually what we move forward with clients. Now there can be slight tweaks to that based on individual client need.
What about your security measures? Is that something that you handle on your own there at DocuTAP? I know you're into the marketing and sales aspect, but does DocuTAP handle its own cybersecurity, or is that something that you partner out or farm out? Or do you suggest facilities get outside help in that area?
We have a full, our technology solution has full, security capabilities. That being said, we do encourage our clients if they want to take additional measures. A lot of them do have unique, partnerships or partners that they work with, whether it's create an additional level of security or work with us to make sure it meets their standards. So I would say, if a client has something, we can work with it. If not, then we have full security capability where that's not something they would need to worry about or feel the need to go out to an outside partner for.
Is a consultation kind of the norm when it comes to considering DocuTAP? Is that something, maybe an extensive consultation, maybe a couple of weeks to really get into a client's infrastructure, their document handling, some of their personnel? Is that something that you do? Or is there an obligation to take you on as a provider once the process starts?
No, it's very much a consultative approach, and that can take different forms. I mean, sometimes that's just a matter of us having a series of conversations or working sessions with a client to understand what their requirements are, what they're looking for in a new solution or partner. And then what I always say is then we can kind of wrap DocuTAP product or solutions around what their needs are. Or we can take it a little bit more of a formal approach, which we actually see a lot of success with, which is where we can actually go into an existing potential client, go into their business and do essentially workflow audits to really understand and map what their workflow looks like. And that way we can come back to them with a little more of a concrete recommendation on what DocuTAP can do for them, what changes potentially they would have to make in their workflow to optimize our solution, and then probably most importantly, what benefits are they going to get from working with DocuTAP in terms of efficiency, et cetera. And then we do the same thing on the billing side. If a client is interested in, needs some help in revenue cycle management, what we can do is come in and do what we call a health check, where just a modest amount of kind of financial or billing data, if they could provide us, we can look at, bounce that up against benchmarks, some of the best practices that we see, and really come back to them and say, with concrete recommendations on what, if they were to work with us, what we would do, and then again, what would be the tangible benefits that they would get from that. So, in essence, we very much look at the way we approach our sales process as consultative, and again, that can take on different forms.
So needless to say, as you mentioned early in our conversation, how things kind of, as you said, bleed over from the urgent care into the primary, different types of document handling, different types of documents at all. You can basically morph as a facility or a practice decides to morph, or, if they decide to specialize in one area, you can make them more efficient in that area. That's
right. Absolutely. And that's really what we set out to do. I mean, we look at ourselves as not just a technology solution, but a technology and a service. And our whole intent is to basically power our clients, enable them to be, more efficient and deliver, better care.
Where can we go online and get some more information about DocuTAP?
Just go to www.docutap.com, and in fact, we just recently launched a new website that I think actually lends itself real well to this conversation in terms of allowing people to kind of really discover the different areas in which DocuTAP can help, whether that be solutions or service based on the size of their business, the area of focus. There's a lot of information in there, in addition to case studies and references.
Great. Matt Blosl, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for joining us here on Health Professional Radio this morning.
Thank you very much.
You've been listening to Health Professional Radio. I'm your host, Neil Howard. Transcripts and audio of this program are available at hpr.fm and healthprofessionalradio.com.au.
Thank you for listening to Health Professional Radio. We're very proud to be an independent broadcaster providing our content free of charge to you, the listener. One of the ways that we're able to remain free and independent is by having people like you become patrons. You can support Health Professional Radio simply by visiting hpr.fm and clicking the button that says Become a Patron. Your patronage of even just $1 a month lets us know that you're there, which in turn makes us more valuable to advertisers. And, of course, if you're able to afford more, then we would certainly appreciate the support. My name is Toby Longhurst from Health Professional Radio. Please visit hpr.fm, click the Become a Patron button, and support us if you can.